The next Battlefield title is right around the corner, and in this video I'm going to go through everything that we currently know about Battlefield 2018, or whatever DICE decide to call it. Now of course not a huge amount is known, and loads of speculation has been surfacing recently, but in this video I will separate what we actually know from what we think we know, so you do get a good impression. I'd also like to say that we will be seeing some concrete proof of what the next Battlefield is from DICE very soon, and I'll go into that in a little more detail in this video. Starting out, we know for sure that the game will be released in October 2018. Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 were released at similar times in previous years, and DICE have also confirmed that there will be a Battlefield game released at the end of the year. The first time we'll see the game in action, or at least see far more detail on the setting of the game, is at EA Play on June the 9th. That being said, there will be a leak or a little release far sooner than that. We saw the same thing with Battlefield 1 a few years ago, and I am certain we'll see it in the next couple of weeks. We also know that Battlefield 1's monthly updates stop in June, according to Jonas Elfing. This isn't really that surprising, as the DLC cycle has finished and there are only a few more updates required to bring the last set of weapon variants and map changes. There is a chance we'll get another map or something else to complement the new Shock Operations mode. However, I doubt that will be the case. With the update stopping, you can expect the DICE team to be solely working on Battlefield 2018, and as other tweets have shown us, the trailer is right around the corner. A big debate surrounding Battlefield 2018 is whether it will include a Battle Royale mode. Well, BR games are clearly in hot demand, and most titles have tried to shoehorn them in whenever possible. Will DICE follow suit and place a Battle Royale mode into the next Battlefield title? I don't personally think that would be a smart idea, and I don't think DICE have had the opportunity to develop a fully fledged 100-man mode on a larger map than even the biggest Conquest map from BF1. That being said, no concrete proof has come out to confirm or deny that it will be in the game. I'm hoping that DICE do make a Battle Royale game, but not a mode. I want something separate from Battlefield because I don't think the two mix well together at all, but I do think the DICE team and the Frostbite engine would set brilliant foundations for a good Battle Royale game, something completely separate from the franchise, but of course made by DICE. Now that is an interesting discussion, and I will get into that in a little more detail as something has come to my attention that could be quite exciting. I'll get into that in a couple more minutes. Now the setting, this one is a really big debate. Will DICE go with a chronological approach and focus on World War II? This is something many from the community wish to see, including myself, and if done correctly could really spark the franchise onto a new level. Battlefield 2, Battlefield World War II, Battlefield 1944, the possible names for a World War II based game are plentiful, but the main questions surrounding the setting of the game will be answered soon, that is for sure. I have a feeling we will see a hint very soon in the same way we saw with BF1. As I mentioned earlier, it'll be a 10-15 second clip of something happening, maybe a sound cue, or as we saw with BF1 we saw the shadow coming over the soldier, pretty much confirmed it was from World War I. Some people thought it could be some sort of futuristic, steampunky, I don't really know, but that wasn't the case. It was World War I, and it would almost confirm the setting, so we can look forward to that within the next few weeks. Battlefield 1 also recently gave quite a nice hint to the next Battlefield being set in World War II with the introduction of several weapons in the CTE. They weren't directly introduced, moreover they were retrieved out of the game files, and one of them was named as the BAR-A2. The BAR-A2 was a World War era version of the BAR that we currently see in BF1, almost giving a hint to the next Battlefield being set in World War II. Again, take these things with a pinch of salt, as DICE have done this in the past, only for the game setting to take a sharp turn and end up somewhere else. It is quite interesting though at the very end of Battlefield 1's life for more hints towards World War II to occur. Many other alternatives for settings have been floating around, such as a modern Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 2018 game, and that again would be a game I'm really interested in seeing. FPS games set in a more realistic modern setting are more relatable, and if DICE can get around the increasingly common copyright issues surrounding weapon and vehicle naming rights, I think they'd do a fantastic job. It would almost be a Battlefield 5 set after Battlefield 4, something that I really want to see. An interesting point brought up by Almighty Dak a few months back, this was the guy that predicted Battlefield 1 down to a T before its release, suggested that DICE are in fact working on two games, one at DICE Stockholm and one in DICE LA. Stockholm are more than likely working on the Battlefield World War II game using the assets from BF1 and putting together a package that probably mirrors what we saw with BF1. BF1 trailers were insanely good, and the hype the team managed to place around the game resulted in huge sales, something that EA are definitely interested in repeating for the next game. It would make sense that they give that job to the guys that did a great job with Battlefield 1 in terms of sales, but telling them to maybe include a few extra things in order to increase the game's longevity and player retention. DICE LA would therefore be working on something else entirely. This has been rumoured to be Battlefield Bad Company 3 and would be closer to the gunplay and movement we saw in BF4. However, this is still clearly a rumour. Something that came to my mind, and again this is speculation, if DICE are trying to bring a Battle Royale game or Battle Royale mode to the franchise, could they possibly be giving that to DICE LA to work on? Is that their little side project while Stockholm work on the next big title, which is probably Battlefield World War II? I think that is entirely possible. It could be quite an interesting switch from DICE to bring the DICE LA team in to work on a completely different game and completely different mode, but again, speculation. Let's wait for some official information before we get too excited. The EA Summit. Recently, high-level game changers went to Sweden to meet up with EA in order to give their opinions on the direction of EA games such as Battlefield. Although I don't think they will have a direct effect on the direction of Battlefield 2018, I do believe YouTubers such as Westy will have voiced their discontent when it comes to aspects like loot boxes. I don't want loot boxes in the next game, and neither do 99% of the community, but to what extent they'll be included is currently unknown. There are other things such as Premium that were almost certainly discussed. Everyone knows that Premium separates the player base, but it also brings lots of new content with 4 major DLC, almost upgrades to the game that many people do enjoy. It's quite an interesting discussion to have whether to include DLC, whether to include Premium or not. But either way, that was almost certainly being discussed at this EA Summit, and I'm pretty certain that soon more information surrounding that will surface, and it will have had an impact on the next Battlefield game. So that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, not much else is known about the direction of the next game, but I would say this. The next game is due to be unveiled in some description very soon, so stay tuned. I'm guessing a couple of weeks. I'd be very surprised if we haven't seen something before the first few weeks in May. That being said, it could be very soon to this video releasing. It might be just around the corner. We don't know. DICE have kept their cards very close to their chest. A bit unusual, as usually they do leak something or other. That being said, all the more reason to remain excited. Thanks for watching, guys. That's all for now, and let's keep our fingers crossed that DICE have come up with a classic.